tragically, some government workers in Virginia Beach were shot and killed by a disgruntled worker, apparently. He opened fire, because according to this USA Today article, he opened fire at the municipal building in Virginia Beach on Friday. He was a 15-year public works civil engineer and was fatally shot with a standoff by police. So the interesting thing about this is that he wasn't fired; he resigned. But then he came back with a .45 caliber handgun with a suppressor. It's not a silencer, you douchebags. So the survivors of the attack were apparently caught off guard and initially puzzled. Okay. So, other than not much is known about why he just did this, because this doesn't make any sense. He just went out and did it. Okay, but why? Well, no, for a while, and so I think that's all I'm going to say about that until other people figure out that why he did it, because it doesn't make any sense, because he bought his guns legally. And so, of course, the Democrats sadly will come out with the same old tired trope of gun control this, gun control that, blah, blah, blah. Whatever they're proposing wouldn't have affected this anyways. But here's the interesting fact about this. Sadly, 12 people died. Yep, you're damn right it's sad. But this weekend, according to the Chicago Tribune, most violent weekend in Chicago this year, at least 50 people shot, 10 fatally. Why isn't this brought up in the news? Like in the alphabet soup news? Oh, that's right, because it's Chicago. A liberal bastion, much like California is. And so anything bad that happens in liberal controlled cities and states, nothing ever, you don't hear about it. Why? I don't know. Do I want to get into a conspiracy theory why it doesn't happen? No, but all you have to do is think about why it does happen. And then you can come to your own conclusions. But let's continue on. This is from Chicago Tribune, Alice Yin, contact reporter. At least 50 people were shot across Chicago over the weekend, the most violent of the year, with a toll even higher than during the long Memorial Day holiday just a week earlier. That's what's funny about that. I didn't hear about the Memorial Day weekend shootings in Chicago. Why do you suppose that happened? Anyways, more than half the victims were wounded during the 12-hour burst of gunfire from Friday evening to Saturday morning. At least 4 of the 31 people shot during the time died after the attacks on the west and south sides. By the time the weekend ended, at least 10 people were dead, according to the Chicago Police Department. Oh, wait, I gotta put some up in my webcam here. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. All right. The book of the day, I guess. I don't know. This sucker's huge. That's what she said. The level of violence eclipsed the 3-day Memorial Weekend when the last 43 people were shot, 7 of them fatally. Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson, if you remember that guy, during the Jesse Smollett case, has scheduled a news conference for 9:30 a.m. Monday to discuss weekend violence and enforcement initiatives. Okay. In a statement Sunday night, the department's chief spokesman said Johnson ordered targeted patrols. That's not a very good play on words there. In areas of potential retaliation by gangs. Quote, those efforts have resulted in 19 arrests on gun-related charges and 81 illegal weapons seized since Friday evening. Anthony Guglielmi said, several people of interest are also being questioned in relation to some of our incidents, and detectives have good video leads and others. The most recent homicides from the weekend happened Sunday morning in the Old Town Triangle neighborhood on the north side. 2 men were found dead. Sorry I'm laughing at this, but I mean, this is like a common occurrence in Chicago. Around 6 a.m. inside, a car hit by at least a dozen bullets in the 100 block of West North Avenue, according to police. I mean, is there so much gunfire that people don't find bodies till the morning? That's what kind of question I kind of want to have it answered. But the driver, Tavion Matthews, 22, was shot several times in the back, and the passenger, Marcus Walker Jr., 25, also suffered several gunshot wounds. They were pronounced dead at the scene, according to Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. Both lived in Old Town. The two were shot when at least 2 people in a white car traveling west on North Avenue opened fire. The shooters drove off north on LaSalle Street, police said. Man, this is just... What is this, Fallujah? What the fuck? Less than 2 hours earlier, Dennis Weekly, 26, was shot and killed in the 4900 block of South Princeton Avenue in Fuller Park on the south side, police said. She was struck in the chest and taken to the University of Chicago hospital where she died, police said. On Saturday morning, 4 people were shot in the Gold Coast neighborhood. As you can see, I don't want to keep reading this, but you can see this is just... What the hell? Yeah, so they're just talking about all the police shootings here. Let's read the in part of this. The youngest shooting victim from the weekend was a 16-year-old boy wounded in the Little Village neighborhood about 8:10 p.m. The teen was walking north in the 2200 block of South California Avenue when another male flashed a handgun and opened fire. The 16-year-old was hit in the right shoulder and taken to Mount Sinai Hospital in good condition. Jesus Christ. So, I think my point is that as tragic as 12 people being shot during one particular incident in Virginia Beach, over 50 people were shot, 10 people were killed in Chicago just this weekend. And the weekend before that, apparently 43 people were shot. Doesn't this bring out questions that you want to have answered, such as, why isn't this being brought up in the media? Obviously, in the Chicago Tribune, it's germane to their readership, but why isn't this on ABC, CBS, NBC nightly news? Now, I could hypothesize and say, well, it's political. They don't want to show the bad things happening in liberal bastions. By the way, I think the last time a conservative or Republican mayor of Chicago was probably like the 1930s. I'd have to look that up, but it's been a hot minute since a Republican was part of that. But that doesn't mean that if a Republican becomes mayor of Chicago, that it's going to change. It's not going to change. There's a level of violence and there's a level of hate apparently in that city that people just can't get over. But my point is that why isn't this being brought up in the higher news? I think President Trump actually mentioned something about this, but again, what can you do other than put a police officer on every corner in the south side and the north side and the west and east side of Chicago, or send the National Guard in there? But that's not going to solve anything. I don't even have a good suggestion or a good way to solve this issue. There is no good way. It's like I would equate this to like an alcoholic. For them to receive treatment or help, they have to hit rock bottom. And once alcoholics hit rock bottom, or drug addicts, if you will, they have to hit so far deep rock bottom where they can't pound through the surface anymore, that they have to seek help. And if they don't seek help, they die. And I think the problem here is that Chicago hasn't hit rock bottom. And it would almost have to, I don't know. I mean, I have an idea how they could hit rock bottom. I'm not going to mention it here because YouTube, tech censorship, etc. But for the most part, they would have to hit so far at the bottom that they'd have to like put the National Guard on the streets to actually stop this crap from happening. So as far as Virginia Beach, which is a completely terrible incident, what's worse? 50 people shot, 10 people being killed over the weekend, or 12 people being shot and killed during, say, 30 minutes? They're equally bad. And you don't want them to happen. No one wants it. Who wants this to happen? Who's sitting there, listening to the sound of my voice or watching these stories and go, yes, I agree this should happen? No one's saying that. You can't control human behavior. I mean, you can if you live in North Korea or China. You can definitely, control human behavior. But in this instance, do you want to control human behavior? Because for anything to happen, for this to stop, you almost have to lock down a city. But then you're basically opening the Pandora's box. Once you lock down a city, next thing you can do is lock down a state, lock down a country. But with 350 million people in the United States, you can't really do that. And you can, but you're going to receive some pushback. But in conclusion here, there is no solution to this. Like I said, they have to hit rock bottom before they receive help. And Chicago is not going to hit rock bottom anytime soon. This will continue on for a couple more years until they elect somebody who actually will do something. Or better yet, which would be better? If the community leaders would actually step up and do something. Because obviously, whatever they're doing, the community leaders and the government leaders, they're not doing anything. They're just allowing it to happen because it's the way it's supposed to happen, apparently. Sadly enough, but that's just the way it is.